Captain Jake Morrison sat in his command chair and watched the stars. The bridge of the UHS Defiant was quiet. His crew worked at their stations without making much noise. Jake liked it this way. Space was big and empty, and sometimes quiet was. Good. The ship moved through space on patrol duty. They were checking the outer borders of human space. It was not exciting work, but it was important. Pirates and smugglers tried to hide in these empty areas. The Defiant was there to stop them. Jake was drinking his morning coffee when the alarm went off. The sound was loud and sharp. Everyone on the bridge looked up from their work. "Captain, we're getting a signal," said Lisa Barnes. She was the communications officer. Her fingers moved fast over her control panel. "It's a distress call." Jake put down his coffee cup. "Put it on screen." The main screen flickered and showed a face. It was not human. The alien had blue skin and large eyes. Jake knew this was a Zalari. They were one of the peaceful species in the galaxy. The Zalari never fought wars. They spent their time studying science and art. "This is Commander Kira Voss of the Zalari research vessel Starseeker," the alien said. Her voice was scared. "We are under attack. The Thakari Empire has captured our ship. They are taking us to their space. Please help us." The message was old. Jake could tell from the timestamp. It was sent 6 hours ago. The Thakari were a different story from the Zalari. They were warriors who liked to fight. They captured other species and made them slaves. Everyone in the galaxy was afraid of them. "How many people are on that ship?" Jake asked. Amy Chun looked up from her station. She was the tactical officer. According to the files, Zalari research ships carry about 200 crew members. Scientists, doctors, and support staff. Jake felt his jaw tighten. 200 innocent people. The Thakari would sell them all as slaves. Or worse. "Lisa, send a message to command. Tell them we found the distress signal. Ask for orders." Lisa worked at her panel. After a few minutes, she looked up. "Message sent, Captain. It will take 2 hours to get an answer." Carlos Rodriguez spoke up from the engineering station. "Captain, I've been tracking the signal. The Thakari ship is moving toward their territory. At their current speed, they'll reach Thakari space in 16 hours. Jake did the math in his head. Even if command sent help right away, it would take at least 2 days for a proper rescue fleet to reach them. The Zalari would be gone by then. "What about other ships in the area?" he asked. Amy checked her sensors. "There's a Galactic Council patrol 3 systems away, but they're small ships. Nothing that could fight a Thakari warship. The Galactic Council was the government that tried to keep peace in the galaxy. They had rules about everything. They also moved very slowly when making decisions. Jake had worked with them before. They would want to try talking first. The Thakari did not like to talk unless they were winning." "Captain," Lisa said, "we're getting another message. This one's from the Thakari ship." The screen changed. Now it showed a different alien face. This one was ugly and mean-looking. The Thakari had dark skin and sharp teeth. Their eyes were small and cruel. "I am Warlord Grexmar," the alien said. "We have captured a Zalari vessel. They sent a distress signal before we took their communications. If anyone tries to follow us, we will kill all the prisoners. Stay away," the message ended. The screen went back to showing stars. Jake looked. Around his bridge, his crew was waiting for orders. They all knew what this meant. The Thakari were not making empty threats. They would kill the Zalari if anyone tried to rescue them. "Captain," Amy said quietly, "there's something else. The Zalari ship was carrying research data, new hyperspace technology. If the Thakari get it, they could move their fleets much faster. That made things worse. The Thakari were already dangerous. With better technology, They could attack anyone in the galaxy. No one would be safe. Lisa's station beeped. "Captain, we have a response from command." Jake read the message on his screen. It was what he expected. Command told him to wait. Do not engage the enemy. A proper fleet would be sent in 2 days. Follow all Galactic Council protocols. Jake stared at the message for a long time. His crew watched him. They knew him well enough to see he was thinking hard about something. Jake had been in space for 15 years. He had seen what happened when good people did nothing. Pirates got stronger. Slavers captured more victims. Evil spread when no one stood up to stop it. His grandfather had told him stories about the old days. When humans first went to space, other aliens thought they were weak. Earth was a dangerous planet, so humans had to be tough to survive. But the aliens did not understand this at first. They learned the hard way that humans were not weak at all. "Amy, how long would it take us to reach the Thakari ship?" Jake asked. Amy looked at her sensors. "At maximum speed, about 14 hours. But Captain, we're just one ship. The Thakari have at least 3 warships escorting that prisoner transport." Jake nodded. 1 human ship against 3 Thakari warships. The odds were not good, but sometimes good people had to take bad odds. "Lisa, send a message to Admiral Blake at Human Command. Tell her we have a situation." Lisa looked surprised. "What kind of message, Captain?" Jake smiled. It was not a nice smile. "Tell her the Deathworlders are about to remind the galaxy why we're called Deathworlders." The crew looked at each other. They had heard that word before. Deathworlders. That's what other species called humans. They said Earth was so dangerous that only crazy species could live there. They said humans were violent and unpredictable. Maybe they were right. "Captain," Carlos said, "if we're going to catch them, we need to leave now." Jake stood up from his chair. "Set course for the Thakari ship. Maximum speed." "Sir," Amy said, "this is against orders." Jake looked at her. Sometimes doing the right thing means breaking the rules. Those are innocent people. If we don't help them, no one will. The crew looked at their captain. They had followed him for 3 years. He had always been fair and honest. He had never led them into danger without good reason. "You heard the captain," Amy said. "Set course. Maximum speed." The Defiant turned toward deep space. Its engines came to full power. The ship moved faster than it had moved before. Jake sat back in his chair. He knew he was taking a big risk. He could lose his job. His crew could get hurt. But 200 innocent people were counting on someone to help them. "Lisa, start working on a plan to contact other human ships. We're going to need help." The communications officer nodded. "Yes, sir." Jake looked at the stars ahead. Somewhere out there, the Thakari thought they were safe. They thought no one would challenge them. They thought humans were just another weak species. They were about to learn how wrong they were. Admiral Susan Blake was eating dinner when her communicator went off. She looked at the message and stopped eating. Jake Morrison was one of her best captains. He never sent emergency messages unless something was really wrong. The message was short. "Zelari ship captured by Thakari. 200 prisoners. Council says wait. Request permission to engage." Susan put down her fork. She knew Jake well. He was asking for permission to fight the Thakari. That was dangerous. The Thakari were strong fighters. They had big ships and lots of weapons. But Susan also knew what the Thakari did to prisoners. She had seen the reports. The Zelari were peaceful people. They had never hurt anyone. They did not deserve to be slaves. That Susan picked up her communicator. "Get me Captain Torres on the Vengeance, Captain Vasquez on the Shadow, and Captains Williams and Murphy on their ships. Emergency meeting. Now." 20 minutes later, 5 faces appeared on Susan's screen. All were human captains. All were experienced fighters. They had worked together before. "Listen up," Susan said. "We have a situation. The Thakari captured a Zalari research ship. Captain Morrison is moving to help them. But he's going to need backup." Captain Ryan Torres spoke first. He was a big man with scars on his face. "How many Thakari ships are we talking about?" "Intel says at least 3 warships plus the transport," Susan replied. "Maybe more once they get to Thakari space." Captain Elena Vasquez whistled. She was. Smaller than Torres, but just as tough. 5 human ships against a Thakari fleet. Those are not good odds. "Since when do we care about odds?" said Captain Nick Williams. He was young but smart. "Remember what happened at Proxima when everyone said we couldn't win?" Captain Katie Murphy nodded. "The Thakari think they're so tough. Maybe it's time someone showed them they're wrong." Susan looked at her captains. These were good people. They had families and lives. She was asking them to risk everything for strangers. "I can't order you to do this," she said. "The council will be angry. Command will be angry. This could end all our careers." Torres laughed. "Admiral, my grandfather fought pirates in the asteroid belt. He always said the only thing needed for evil to win was for good people to do nothing. Besides," Vasquez added, "we're humans. We're supposed to be crazy, right? Let's show them what crazy looks like." Susan smiled. She had good people under her command. "All right. Here's what we're going to do." Meanwhile, Jake's ship was racing through space. The Defiant pushed its engines as hard as they could go. Every minute counted. Amy Chun was working at her station. She was studying everything they knew about the Kari ships. "Captain, I've got some information. The Thakari use standard fleet tactics. They put their strongest ships in front. They like to intimidate their enemies." "What about their weapons?" Jake asked. "Powerful, but not very accurate. They're used to fighting enemies who run away. They don't expect anyone to fight back hard." Carlos. Rodriguez looked up from his engineering station. "Captain, I've been thinking about our weapons. We have missiles, but not many. If we're going to fight multiple ships, we need to be smart about it." Jake nodded. Carlos was right. The Defiant was a patrol ship, not a warship. They had enough weapons to fight pirates, but not a whole fleet. "Lisa, any word from the other?" "Human ships?" Lisa Barnes checked her communications. "Yes, sir. Admiral Blake is sending help. Captain Torres on the Vengeance is already moving. The Shadow will be here in 12 hours. The 2 frigates are coming from the other direction." Jake felt better. The Vengeance was a heavy cruiser with lots of weapons. The Shadow was a stealth ship that could hide from enemy sensors. The frigates were fast and could hit hard. "How long until we reach the Thakari?" Jake asked. 10 hours at current speed," Amy replied. Jake thought about the timing. The other human ships would arrive at different times. That might actually be good. If they all attacked at once, the Thakari would see them coming. But if they attacked in waves, they might confuse the enemy. "Amy, I want you to work on battle plans. Think about how we can use our advantages." "What advantages?" Amy asked. "They have more ships and bigger weapons." Jake smiled. "We have something they don't. We're human. We're used to fighting things that are bigger and stronger than us. Earth taught us that." Amy looked confused. "I don't understand." "Think about it," Jake said. "On Earth, humans were not the biggest or strongest animals. We had to be smart. We had to work together. We had to use tools and tricks to survive. The Thakari are used to being the strongest. They don't know how to fight someone who uses their brain instead of just their muscles." Carlos laughed. "Like my uncle used to say, it's not the size of the dog in the fight. It's the size of the fight in the dog." Jake turned to Lisa. Send. A message to the Zelari ship. Tell them help is coming. Tell them to be ready. Captain, Lisa said, how do we know they'll get the message? The Thakari probably have their communications blocked. We'll use the emergency channel. All ships monitor that frequency. Even the Thakari will hear it. Lisa worked at her station. After a few minutes, she looked up. Message sent, Captain. I used the standard rescue protocol. Jake hoped the Zelari would understand. The message would tell them that humans were coming to help. It would also tell the Thakari that someone was following them. Captain, Amy said, I've been thinking about our attack plan. What if we don't fight the way they expect? What do you mean? The Thakari expect us to attack their strongest ships first. That's what they would do. But what if we attack their weakest ships instead? Cause confusion in their formation. Jake liked the idea. Go on. If we can split up their fleet, we can fight them one at a time instead of all at once. Use their size against them. Like wolves hunting a herd of animals, Carlos said. Separate the weak ones from the strong ones. Jake nodded. Pat was exactly right. Humans had learned to hunt in packs. They worked together to bring down prey much larger than themselves. All right, Jake said. Start working on detailed plans. I want to know everything about those Thakari ships. Their weapons, their weak points, their standard tactics. The crew got to work. They had 10 hours to prepare for the hardest fight of their lives. Hours passed. The Defiant raced through space. Other human ships were moving to join them. Admiral Blake was taking a huge risk. If this went wrong, it could start a war. But Jake knew they were doing the right thing. The Galactic Council moved too slowly. They liked to talk and make committees. By the time they decided to act, the Zelari would be gone. Captain, Lisa said, we're getting a response to our message. It's from the Zelari ship. The screen showed Commander Kira Voss again. She looked tired and scared, but hope was in her eyes. This is Commander Voss. We received your message. We are being held in the cargo bay. There are 196 of us still alive. The Thakari killed 4 of our people to show they were serious. Please hurry. The message ended. Jake felt anger build in his chest. The Thakari had killed innocent people. Scientists who just wanted to learn about the universe. Amy, how are those battle plans coming? Almost done, Captain. But I have to ask, are we really going to do this? 5 human ships against a Thakari fleet? Jake looked at his tactical officer. She was young and smart. She had a good career ahead of her. This mission could end that. Amy, you don't have to do this. None of you do. I can drop you off at the next station. Amy shook her head. No, sir. We're with you. All of us. Jake looked around the bridge. Carlos nodded. Lisa gave him a thumbs up. His crew was loyal. They would follow him anywhere. All right then, Jake sighed. Let's go save some people. The Defiant flew through space toward its date with destiny. Behind it, other human ships were coming. The Thakari were about to learn that humans were not like other species. They were about to learn why Earth was called a death world, and why the people who lived there were called Deathworlders. The UHS Shadow moved through space like a ghost. Captain Elena Vasquez watched her screens as her ship got closer to the Thakari fleet. The Shadow was special. It could hide from most sensors. The enemy would not see it coming. Captain, her tactical officer whispered, we're getting close. I can see 5 Thakari ships on sensors. Elena nodded. The reports were wrong. There were not 3 enemy ships. There were 5. That made things harder, but not impossible. Mark each ship on the display, she said quietly. I want to know what we're dealing with. The screen showed the Thakari formation. 3 warships were flying in front of the prisoner transport. Another warship was behind it. The fifth ship was smaller, probably a scout. The transport is in the middle, Elena said. That's where the Zalari prisoners are. We can't damage that. Ship. Her crew nodded. They knew the plan. The Shadow would attack first. They would hurt the Thakari fleet before the other human ships arrived. Load the special packages, Elena ordered. Her crew had been working all night. They had taken their extra missiles and changed them. Instead of exploding, these missiles would stick to enemy ships. Then they would blow up at the right time. Packages. Loaded, Captain, said her weapons officer. Elena looked at the time. Captain Torres on the Vengeance would arrive in 30 minutes. The other ships would come later. She had to start the fight now. Take us in, silent running. Stay hidden until we're close enough to touch them. The Shadow moved closer to the Thakari fleet. Elena watched the distance count down. 1,000 kilometers. 500. 200. The enemy still did not see them. Fire packages, Elena said. 6 missiles left the Shadow. They flew toward the Thakari ships without making any noise. The enemy sensors still did not detect them. The missiles reached their targets. 3 hit. The lead warship. 2 hit the ship behind the transport. 1 hit the scout ship. They stuck to the hulls like metal spiders. Packages delivered, the weapons officer reported. Good. Now get us out of here. Full speed. The Shadow turned and ran. Elena counted down in her head. 10 seconds. 5, 3, 2, 1. The missiles exploded. Fire and light filled space. The Thakari ships shook as the explosions tore holes in their hulls. What was that? Shouted Warlord Grexmar on the Thakari flagship. Where did those explosions come from? I don't know, sir, said his tactical officer. Our sensors show nothing. But we have damage to 3 ships. Grexmar was angry. Someone had attacked his fleet. But he could not see who did it. Scan everything. Find the enemy. Sir, we're getting a new contact. Large ship coming in fast. The Vengeance dropped out of hyperspace right in front of the Thakari fleet. Captain Ryan Torres had timed his arrival perfectly. The enemy ships were confused and damaged. This is Captain Torres of the UHS Vengeance, he said on the open channel. Release the Zalari prisoners and surrender. This is your only warning. Grexmar laughed. 1 human ship against. My fleet? You are either very brave or very stupid. Maybe both, Torres replied. But you're about to find out. The Vengeance opened fire. Its big guns shot beams of energy at the lead Thakari ship. The enemy shields flared and failed. Holes appeared in the hull. Return fire. Grexmar shouted. The Thakari ships started shooting back, but they were not ready for this kind of fight. Their formation was broken. Their damaged ships could not aim properly. Torres smiled. The plan was working. All weapons, concentrate fire on the lead ship. Let's show them what humans can do. The Vengeance was a heavy cruiser. It had more weapons than any ship in the Thakari fleet. But it was also alone. The enemy had more ships. Captain, Torres' tactical officer said, we're taking damage. Shields. At 60%. Hold course. Keep firing. Meanwhile, Jake Morrison on the Defiant was racing to join the fight. He could see the battle on his long-range sensors. Explosions lit up space. How long until we get there? He asked. 5 minutes, Amy replied. Captain, it looks like the Vengeance is in trouble. The Thakari are surrounding it. Jake watched the tactical display. Torres was fighting well, but he was outnumbered. The Thakari ships were moving to surround the human vessel. Amy, prepare our missiles. We're going to hit them fast and hard. Yes, sir. All weapons ready. The Defiant dropped out of hyperspace behind the Thakari fleet. Jake had positioned his ship perfectly. The enemy could not see them coming. Fire. Everything, Jake ordered. The Defiance missiles flew toward the nearest Thakari ship. The enemy vessel was focused on fighting the Vengeance. It did not see the attack coming. The missiles hit hard. The Thakari ship's shields failed. Its hull cracked open. Air and fire poured out into space. "Direct hit," Amy shouted. "That ship is out of the fight." Now the Thakari were really confused. They were being attacked from two directions. Their neat formation was falling apart. "This is impossible," Grexmar said. "How are they doing this?" His tactical officer looked scared. "Sir, we're detecting 2 more human ships coming in. They'll be here in 10 minutes. Grexmar felt fear for the first time. He had 5 ships, but 2 were damaged. The humans were fighting like nothing he had ever seen. They did not follow the normal rules of space combat. "Form defensive positions around the transport," he ordered. "Protect the prisoners." But the humans were not done. Captain Elena Vasquez brought the Shadow back into the fight. Her ship appeared next to the Thakari scout vessel. "Surprise," she said, and opened fire. The scout ship exploded in a ball of fire. The Thakari were now down to 4 ships. On the prisoner transport, Commander Kira Voss watched the battle through a small window. She could not believe what she was seeing. 3 human ships were fighting 5 Thakari vessels, and the humans were winning. "How is this possible?" she asked another prisoner. "I don't know," the other Zelari replied. "I thought humans were supposed to be peaceful traders." Voss shook her head. "I think we were wrong about humans. Very wrong." The battle continued. The Thakari ships were trying to form a protective circle around the transport. But the humans kept attacking from different angles. Torres, on the Vengeance, was fighting 2 enemy ships at once. His vessel was taking heavy damage, but he kept fighting. "Shields at 20%, his tactical officer reported. "Keep firing," Torres said. "Help is coming." Jake on the Defiant was fighting the damaged Thakari ship. Even hurt, it was still dangerous. Energy beams flew back and forth between the 2 vessels. "Carlos, I need more power to weapons," Jake said. "I'm giving you everything I can, Captain," Carlos replied. "But we're not a warship. We can't take much more of this." "We don't have to take much more. Look." 2 more human ships dropped out of hyperspace. Captains Williams and Murphy had arrived. With their frigates, the odds were now even. "This is Williams." "Sorry, we're late to the party." "This is Murphy." "Where do you want us?" Jake smiled. "Hit the transport's escorts, but be careful. Don't damage the transport itself." The 2 frigates moved fast. They were smaller than the other ships, but they were quick and hard to hit. They attacked the Thakari ships from the sides. Now the Thakari were really in trouble. They were surrounded by human vessels that fought like a pack of wolves. Every time they tried to focus on one enemy, another would attack from a different direction. "Sir," the Thakari tactical officer said, "we're losing. Maybe we should retreat." Grexmar was angry. "We do not retreat. We are Thakari. We are the strongest warriors in the galaxy. But sir, these humans fight like nothing we've ever seen. They don't follow any rules. Then we'll show them what real warriors can do. All ships attack the biggest human vessel. Concentrate all firepower on the Vengeance." The Thakari ships turned toward Torres' ship. They fired everything they had. The Vengeance shook under the impact. Shields failing. Torres' tactical officer shouted. "Hold together," Torres said. "Just a little longer." But Jake had expected this. The Thakari always tried to attack the biggest threat first. It was their way. All ships now. Jake ordered. The other 4 human vessels attacked at the same time. While the Thakari were focused on the Vengeance, the other ships hit them from behind and from the sides. 2 more Thakari ships exploded. Only 2 enemy vessels were left, plus the transport. Grexmar stared at his tactical display in shock. His fleet was gone. 5 ships reduced to 2 in just 20 minutes. How? He whispered. How did they do this? His tactical officer looked at him with fear. Sir, I think I understand. These humans don't fight like civilized species. They fight like ... like animals, like predators. Grexmar suddenly understood. Earth was a death world. The humans who lived, they had to fight to survive every day. They were not just traders or diplomats. They were hunters, and now they were hunting him. Warlord Grexmar stared at the burning remains of his fleet. 5 ships had become 2 in just 20 minutes. The humans had destroyed his forces using tactics he had never seen before. All remaining ships form a defensive shell around the transport, he ordered. If they want the prisoners, they'll have to go through us. His 2 remaining warships moved close to the prisoner transport. They pointed their weapons outward, ready to fight. Open a channel to the human ships, Grexmar said. The face of Captain Jake Morrison appeared on his screen. The human looked calm, but Grexmar could see something dangerous in his eyes. I am Warlord Grexmar of the Thakari Empire, he said. You have attacked my fleet without cause. This is an act of war. Jake smiled, but it was not a friendly smile. You captured innocent people. You killed some of them. You started this war. The Zelari are our prisoners now, Grexmar replied. If you attack us again, we will kill them all. Every single one. Jake's expression did not change. No, you won't. What makes you so sure? Because dead slaves are worth nothing. You captured them to sell them. If you kill them, you lose everything. Grexmar felt anger rise in his chest. The human was right. The Zelari were valuable. Their scientific knowledge could be sold for a lot of money. Perhaps, Grexmar said. But I would rather have nothing than let you take them from me. Then we have a problem, Jake replied. Because I'm not leaving without those people. The channel closed. Grexmar turned to his tactical officer. Can we reach our space before they attack again? Not with the transport, sir. It's too slow. We need at least 6 hours to reach the border. Grexmar thought hard. The humans had shown they could fight better than anyone expected, but they were still outnumbered around the transport. 2 Thakari warships should be enough to hold them off. Sir, the tactical officer said, the human ships are moving. They're pulling back. Grexmar watched his sensors. The human vessels were moving away from the transport. They stopped just outside weapon range. What are they doing? He asked. I don't know, sir. Maybe they're giving up? Grexmar did not think so. The humans had fought too hard to give up now. They were planning something. On the Defiant, Jake was talking to his fellow captains. All 5 human ships were linked by secure communication. Torres, how bad is the damage to the Vengeance? Jake asked. We can fight, but not for long, Torres replied. Those last hits hurt us pretty bad. What about the rest of you? Shadow is good to go, said Elena Vasquez. We barely got scratched. Stryker is ready, said Nick Williams. Hunter is ready too, added Katie Murphy. Jake nodded. The plan was risky, but it might work. Carlos, tell me about that idea you had. Carlos Rodriguez looked up from his engineering station. Well, Captain, I've been looking at the debris from the destroyed Thakari ships. There are a lot of big pieces floating around, and with the right push, we could send those pieces flying toward the transport. Not to destroy it, but to cause confusion, maybe damage their sensors or weapons. Amy Chun studied the tactical display. That's crazy. You want to use space junk as weapons? It's not junk if it works, Carlos said. We just need to give those pieces the right speed and direction. Jake liked the idea. It was the kind of plan that no textbook would teach. But sometimes the best plans were the ones nobody expected. How do we push the debris? Jake asked. Missile. Engines, Carlos replied. We attach small engines to the biggest pieces. Program them to fly toward the transport. The Thakari won't see them coming until it's too late. Elena laughed over the communication link. I love it. We're going to attack them with their own dead ships. Can we do it without hitting the transport? Jake asked. Yes, sir. We'll aim. For the escort ships, try to damage their weapons and sensors. Jake made his decision. All right, let's do it. Carlos, you're in charge at the technical side. Amy, work with the other ships on timing. We'll only get one chance at this. The human crews got to work. They used their repair shuttles to reach the debris field. Small engines were attached to the biggest pieces of wreckage. Computer guidance systems were programmed to aim the makeshift weapons. It took 2 hours to set everything up. The Thakari watched from a distance, but they could not figure out what the humans were doing. Sir, the Thakari tactical officer said, the humans are doing something with the debris. Should we stop them? Grexmar looked at his sensors. The human shuttles were moving around the wreckage, but they were not coming closer to the transport. Let them play with their junk, he said. It won't help them. He was wrong. Jake watched the countdown on his screen. Everything was ready. The debris weapons were in position. The human ships were ready to attack. All ships on my mark, Jake said. 3, 2, 1, mark. The engines on the debris pieces came to life. Chunks of metal and plastic began flying toward the Thakari ships. There were dozens of them, all moving at high speed. What is that? Grexmar shouted as his sensors detected the incoming objects. Debris, sir, but it's moving too fast to be natural. Shoot it down. The Thakari ships opened fire on the debris. Some pieces were destroyed, but there were too many of them. The bigger chunks got through. The first piece hit the port side Thakari ship. It was just a chunk of metal, but it was moving fast. The impact shook the enemy vessel and damaged its forward weapons. More debris hit both escort ships. Sensors were smashed. Weapon systems were damaged. The Thakari ships were being battered by their own dead fleet. Now, Jake ordered. The 5 human ships attacked. While the Thakari were confused by the debris storm, the humans moved in close. The shadow appeared next to the starboard escort ship. Elena's weapons fired at point-blank range. The enemy ship's shields failed instantly. The 2 frigates attacked the other escort from different angles. Their weapons were smaller, but they were accurate. They hit the enemy ship's engines and weapons. Meanwhile, Jake and Torres attacked the transport itself, but they were careful. They only shot at the ship's engines and weapons. They did not want to hurt the prisoners. Transport is disabled, Amy reported. No engines, no weapons. Both escort ships are out of the fight, Torres added. One is dead in space. The other is trying to run. Jake opened a channel to the fleeing Thakari ship. This is your last chance. Surrender now, or we'll destroy you too. The enemy ship stopped. Running. Its captain appeared on screen. He looked terrified. We surrender, the captain said quickly. Please don't kill us. Jake nodded. Cut your engines and wait. We'll deal with you later. Now only the transport was left. It floated in space, powerless and helpless. Inside, nearly 200 Zelari prisoners waited to learn their fate. Grexmar, Jake said, opening a channel to the transport. It's over. Your fleet is gone. Your escorts are destroyed. Surrender the prisoners. Grexmar's face appeared on screen. He looked angry and desperate. You think you've won? I still have the prisoners. I can still kill them all. You could, Jake agreed. But then what? You'll be stuck in space with no engines and no weapons. We'll board your ship and capture you anyway. At least if you surrender now, You'll live. The Thakari Empire will hunt. You down for this? Grexmar threatened. Jake laughed. Let them try. We just destroyed a fleet with 5 ships. How many ships do you think we really have? That made Grexmar think. If the humans could do this much damage with just 5 vessels, how strong was their real fleet? Sir, Grexmar's tactical officer whispered, maybe we should surrender. We're beaten. Grexmar looked around his bridge. His crew was scared. They had never been defeated before. They did not know what to do. The prisoners, Grexmar said. What happens to them if I surrender? They go home, Jake replied. Safe. And free. And my crew? Jake thought for a moment. Your crew can go home too, but you're coming with us. You have crimes to answer for. Grexmar felt trapped. He could kill the prisoners, but that would not save him. The humans would board his ship anyway. At least if he surrendered, his crew might live. Very well, he said finally. I surrender, but I want guarantees for my crew. You have them, Jake said. Prepare to be boarded. 20 minutes later, human. Marines were on the transport ship. They moved quickly through the corridors, securing the vessel and freeing the prisoners. Jake led the boarding party himself. He wanted to see the Zelari with his own eyes. He wanted to make sure they were really safe. The cargo bay doors opened. Inside, Jake saw nearly 200 alien faces looking back at him. They were scared and tired, but they were alive. Commander Kiravos stepped forward. She looked at Jake with wonder in her large eyes. You came, she said softly. You really came. We said we would, Jake replied. Are you hurt? Are your people okay? 4 of our people were killed when we were captured. The rest are alive. Some are injured, but not badly. Jake felt anger when he thought about the 4 dead Zelari, but he pushed the feeling down. There would be time for anger later. Right now, he had to focus on the living. We'll get you medical attention, he said, and then we'll take you home. Tears ran down Voss's blue face. I don't understand. Why did you risk so much for us? We're not even the same species. Jake looked at the crowd of Zelari prisoners, scientists and doctors and teachers, people who spent their lives trying to make the universe a better place. Because it was the right thing to do, he said simply. Grexmar was brought to the bridge in chains. He looked at Jake with hate in his eyes. You have no idea what you've done, the Thakari said. The Empire will not forget. 3 weeks later, Jake Morrison stood in front of a military court. The room was full of important people from many different species. Some looked angry. Others looked confused. All of them were staring at him. Captain Morrison, said the judge, a tall alien with green skin. You are charged with disobeying direct orders and attacking a foreign fleet without permission. How do you answer? Jake stood straight. Guilty, sir. A murmur went through the courtroom. Most people expected him to make excuses or try to explain why he broke the rules. Do you have anything to say in your defense? The judge asked. Jake looked around the room. He saw Admiral Blake sitting in the front row. She gave him a small nod. Yes, sir. I would do it again. The murmur became louder. Some aliens looked shocked. Others looked impressed. Captain, the judge said, do you understand the serious nature of your crimes? You could have started a war. I understand, sir. But sometimes doing the right thing is more important than following rules. In the back of the courtroom, Commander Kira Voss watched the trial. She had come to speak for Jake. All the rescued Zelari had come to support the man who saved them. Your Honor, Voss said, standing up. May I speak? The judge looked surprised. This is a military court, Commander. Civilians are not usually allowed to speak. Please, Voss said. This man saved my life and the lives of nearly 200 of my people. The court should hear what we have to say. The judge thought for a moment. Very well. You may speak. Voss walked to the front of the room. She looked small next to the tall aliens, but her voice was strong. 3 weeks ago, my people were captured by the Thakari Empire. We sent a distress signal, but no one came to help us. The Galactic Council said they needed time to think about it. Time we did not have. She turned to look at Jake. Then this man and his crew decided that saving innocent lives was more important than waiting for permission. They risked everything to help people they had never met. But he broke the law, said another judge, this one with 4 arms and blue skin. Yes, Voss agreed. He broke the law to do what was right. In my culture, we have a saying, the law exists to protect people, not to protect itself. Captain Morrison understood this. She walked closer to the judges. The Thakari killed 4 of my people just to show they were serious. If we had waited for the council to act, all of us would be dead or slaves by now. The courtroom was quiet. Everyone was listening to the small blue alien who spoke with such passion. I have studied human history, Voss continued. I know that humans have done bad things in the past. But I also know that they are the only species in the galaxy who will fight to protect strangers, who will risk everything for people they don't even know. She pointed at Jake. This man is a hero. If you punish him for saving lives, what message does that send? That following rules is more important than doing what's right. Voss sat down. The judges talked quietly among themselves for several minutes. Finally, the head judge spoke. Captain Morrison, the court recognizes that your actions saved many lives. However, military discipline must be maintained. You are hereby demoted to commander and assigned to patrol duty for 1 year. Jake nodded. It was a light punishment. He had expected much worse. However, the judge continued, the court also recognizes the need for rapid response to humanitarian crises. A new unit is being formed, the Rapid Response Division. You will be transferred to this unit after your patrol assignment. Admiral Blake smiled. The Rapid Response Division was her idea. It would allow human ships to act quickly without waiting for council approval. Court dismissed, the judge said as people filed out of the courtroom. Voss approached Jake. Thank you, she said simply. You don't need to thank me, Jake replied. I just did what anyone should do. But not everyone would, Voss said. That's what makes you special. Outside the courthouse, reporters from across the galaxy were waiting. They all wanted to interview the human who had defeated a Thakari fleet. Commander Morrison, one reporter called out, what do you say to critics who claim humans are too violent to be trusted? Jake thought about the question. I say that being able to fight and choosing to fight are 2 different things. Humans are good at violence because our world taught us to be. But we choose when to use that skill. Will this incident change how other species view humanity? Another reporter asked. I hope so, Jake said. I hope they understand that we're not looking for fights. But when innocent people need help, we won't stand by and do nothing. A Thakari reporter pushed forward. What message do you have for the Thakari Empire? Jake looked directly at the camera. We don't want to be your enemies. But if you keep taking slaves and hurting innocent people, we'll stop you. Every time. Later that evening, Jake sat in a bar near the spaceport. His crew was with him, celebrating their light sentences. They had all been demoted, but they were still together. So what now, Commander? Amy asked. Now we go back to patrol duty, Jake said, same as before. But different, Carlos added. Everyone knows who we are now. Lisa looked at the news feed on her tablet. The story is everywhere. Some species are calling us heroes. Others are calling us dangerous. Let them call us whatever they want, Jake said. We know who we are. Elena Vasquez walked into the bar. Her ship had just returned from escorting the Zalari home. "You should see what's happening out there," she said. "Half the galaxy is scared of us. The other half wants to hire us as bodyguards." "And the Thakari?" Jake asked. "They're being very quiet. Word is they're reconsidering their expansion plans." Jake nodded. That was good news. Maybe other species would think twice before attacking innocent people. "There's something else," Elena sighed. "I got a message from the Zalari government. They want to set up a cultural exchange program with Earth. They want to learn more about humans." "That's nice," Jake said. "But I hope they understand we're not all warriors." "I think they're starting to figure that out," Elena replied. "Voss told them how you treated the Thakari prisoners, how you gave them medical care and sent them home instead of killing them." Jake shrugged. "They were beaten. There was no point in hurting them more." "That's what Voss found interesting," Elena said. "She said most species either run away from stronger enemies or try to destroy them completely. Humans are the only ones who fight hard and then show mercy." Amy looked thoughtful. "Maybe that's our real strength. Not that we can fight, but that we know when to stop fighting." 3 months later, Jake's patrol ship received another distress signal. This time it came from a mining station under attack by pirates. The Galactic Council was 3 days away. Jake looked at his crew. They all knew what he was thinking. "So," he said, "anyone want to break some more rules?" Amy smiled. "Just point us in the right direction, Commander." The ship turned toward the distress signal and accelerated. Behind them, space was quiet and peaceful. Ahead of them, people needed help, and the Deathworlders were coming. 6 months later, Commander Kiravos stood in her laboratory on the Zalari homeworld. She was working on new hyperspace technology, but her mind kept wandering to her time as a prisoner god. She had learned something important during those dark days. The universe was not a safe place. Bad people existed, and they would hurt innocent species if no one stopped them. But she had also learned that good people existed too. People who would risk everything to help strangers. People who understood that with great power came great responsibility. Her assistant walked into the lab. "Commander, we're getting reports from the border. Human ships have stopped another slave raid. The 3rd one this month." Voss smiled. "How many prisoners were freed?" 57, all from different species. "The humans took them home." Vass nodded. The galaxy was changing. The Rapid Response Division was active now, led by Admiral Blake. They had ships stationed throughout human space, ready to respond to emergencies. Other species were starting to copy the idea. The Andromedans had formed their own rapid response unit. So had the Centaurians. "Commander," her assistant said, "there's a human delegation here to see you. They want to discuss the cultural exchange program." "Send them in," Voss said. A group of humans entered her lab. They looked different from the warriors she had met before. These were scientists and teachers and diplomats. "Commander Voss," the lead human said, "we're honored to meet you. We've heard so much about your work." Voss studied the humans. They seemed peaceful and friendly, but she knew that underneath their calm exterior was the same strength that had saved her life. "Welcome to our world," she said. "I hope you'll learn as much from us as we've learned from you." "What have you learned?" one of the humans asked. Voss thought about the question. "I've learned that strength without compassion is just violence. But compassion without strength is just wishful thinking. Your species has both." The human delegation smiled. "We're still learning how to balance them." "So are we all," Voss replied. "But maybe we can learn together." Outside her window, she could see human and Zalari children playing together in the gardens. The future was bright, and somewhere in the depths of space, human ships continued their patrol.